Let's do it.
All right, sweet. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wait, sorry, I had it on volume. Shit. Try that again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the very first official episode of the RPG After Years, your weekly show about all things RPGs. This is Scott.
I'm Rich.
And I'm Jay.
This is our After Years relaunch episode. As such, we thought it was only appropriate to kick things off by discussing our favorite classic RPGs versus our favorite modern RPGs. Sort of a golden years versus the after years, if you will. The after years are here, so we hope you guys enjoy the episode. But first, let's talk about the podcast relaunch, the save state of the podcast. Dang, guys, how about that intro there?
It was good.
It's pretty sweet. We worked pretty hard to get all that arranged for everybody, but the whole idea behind it was sort of just like a classic RPG opening theme, sort of using like a Chrono Trigger as the inspiration there.
Yeah, it was good. I really liked it.
I think it represents what our show is well.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a new outro later as well. Looking forward to you guys hearing that. And we even have a theme for our bonus episodes, the Aftercast, which you will be able to hear on Patreon before too long, hopefully. But you'll have to listen to them to hear that.
Yes.
We've also got our own jingles. You'll hear them soon enough for the news and Tea Time with Bills. With Bill.
Multiple bills. That's the worst.
This is my nightmare. We're going to start doing like little transition dings between segments and news stories when we don't have a jingle, as you may have heard a second ago. Also this. I was kind of thinking that maybe it might be a good idea to start like finding different transition noises from what the whatever the current Golden Years game is, like get some Alundra sound effects in there. But 7 that's obviously from the Final Fantasy VII save load menu. That's probably the most iconic menu noises I could think of.
It's only fitting.
Yeah. And then as you could see, we probably saw on your podcast feed, we have new album art. It shows the four of us, me, Rich, Jay, and Bill, standing on the precipice of a cliff overlooking a grand castle in the river valley. Looks pretty sweet.
In hindsight, I would say the only thing I'm sad about that is that Bill isn't some type of like Moogle or like some really insignificant character in the party.
Well, I think I gave him, I told the artist to make him the white mage. It ended up not mattering because it's just 4 figures from behind. But it would matter.
It would have been really funny to have Bill as a Moogle and Rich as like Lulu, just a huge rack just holding Bill as a Moogle.
If there was,
I'm okay with that. Maybe we should do that next season. Change out when we do the change on it. I'm kind of just hoping we kick Bill off the cliff there. Should have done that, like push him off. But it's phenomenal. I like that album art.
Yeah,
that art is by my friend Rachel. You can find her on Twitter at Mrs._Dizzy's_art. She's super talented. I have like a bunch of different paintings that she's done hanging up in my place. She takes commissions. So also, I forgot to say the intro and outro were done by Esper5, who we hired on Fiverr with 2 R's. So you can look both of those people up on the in the show notes there.
Yeah, and really we would have probably gone live with the after years, maybe like last week or the week before. But putting together everything, timing and all, hasn't been the easiest. I know Scott's been working really hard at it. So kudos to him. He's done the vast majority of all of this work.
Thanks.
Yes.
But just getting everything together is not as straightforward as most people would think, or how many times he had to message the guy on Fiverr and say, hey, can you tweak this just a little bit, or can you do this just a little bit different? So thank you, Scott, for orchestrating all of that.
Thank you. You're so right. It's, even though this is a pre-existing podcast with the golden years, it still was a lot of work to get all that shit together.
Yeah, yep. the Patreon, just everything.
Yeah,
getting everything set up. We'd also have a new email, so rpgafteryears@gmail.com. So yeah, if you want to send us some emails,
suggestions,
some nice
feedback.
emails.
Yeah.
No DPs, please.
Oh, you can send those to my personal email address at CS. No.
You just open yourself a can of worms. Just like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Every day. So speaking of the Patreon, you can definitely find the Patreon for us at patreon.com/rpgafteryears. Kind of the updates we did to that: for $1, you get the mascot tier, which is shout outs and private Discord channel. $2 to be the summons tier. You get the ad-free episodes, early episode access, the planning doc access, and Jay's anime corner, which I'm actually pretty excited about that thing.
Yeah, I'm also pretty excited about it.
So yeah, we have a lot of stuff. The planning doc also, if you've never seen something like that, it's really in depth. Again, shout out to Scott for getting all that together and doing all that. He's definitely really good.
A couple of our current patrons have already been looking at the planning docs and giving feedback on them. So you can kind of find out what we're going to talk about way ahead of time.
Yeah, and we even have a $5 tier called Party Members. You'll get access to every now and then we'll record an aftercast episode, which is going to be less gaming specific and more just general conversation about whatever random topic we decide. We will also have some non-RPG reviews thrown up on the for Patreon members at this tier. Then live recording access and a video version of the podcast.
See your beautiful faces.
Yeah, beautiful faces. Party planning, which is basically like the 30 minutes leading up to our recording, which is usually just us running around like buffoons. A Patreon RSS feed and a monthly raffle.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to give away exactly, but it'd be like merch or like bead sprites that me and Corey do. So yeah, that'll be good.
I thought we were going to do pictures of me.
That also works.
Headshots. No. So for $10, the final bosses, that's the tier we have for that. You get to co-host an episode, an annual physical gift, submit questions and topics, change current golden year game. So you could change up where me and Bill are supposed to be playing from, I remember correctly, any game off the list. Is that right?
Yep. Scott? Any list game.
Yep.
You're not able to change the current game. Like if he's halfway through Alundra, somebody can't come in and be like, nope, not Alundra. And then he just would.
That would be rough. I would probably done, quit, I'm out.
I guess we should have said change the next Golden Years game.
Yeah, next game, people. Next game.
And then our highest tier for $25 is the Super Boss tier. The benefits on this are Bill and Rich's infinite playlist, which basically you can make Bill and Rich play any game you want. It doesn't matter if it's on the list or not. And then also you can force Jay and I to join in on whatever the current or next Golden Year or infinite playlist game that you want. Whether it's
be part of the
good or not.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. I hope nobody does that.
Oh, they will.
There's some fun ones out there.
And then the last benefit is Tastka, which is basically you can change the current Golden Years game twice a year rather than just once. So again, you can find all that at patreon.com/RPG After Years. And Rich and I actually recorded a bonus episode, sort of doing a full rundown of what all the Patreon benefits are. So if that's not already out, it'll be out in the next couple days. So you can listen to that if you want more details, or just go to the website.
Sweet. So regarding another thing that we're going to be doing is the Materia lockdown. We did this last year. It's a very good charity cause that we do regarding Final Fantasy VII, and Bill talks about that in depth. So definitely be on lookout for those coming up.
Yep, we did it last year. We're doing it again this year. We're sort of threw it together last minute, but it's happening apparently. Jay's actually excellent Twitter bot apparently still works.
I'm surprised it still works. I don't. It's a pile of garbage that's just staying lit. So
yeah, it's all for charity. So for those that don't know what it is, basically you just play Final Fantasy VII, and the Twitter bot assigns you what materia each character is allowed to use. And again, go to, materialockdown.com for more info.
Mm-hmm.
And later during Bill's Tea Time segment, I think he's going to talk about that a little bit more.
And I think I'm currently right now trying to get some big name streamers in the Final Fantasy community to really hit this. We've got a couple seem interested.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit bigger this year, I think. And it's going to start on March 3rd, which is the day that Final Fantasy VII Remake was supposed to come out. So
damn,
it allowed us some room for the remake.
Yep. And for the record, I genuinely do have an interest in making that Twitter bot like excellent, amazing, and flawless. So one of these days it'll work very well, and with just multiple different Final Fantasies.
I just don't want to get screwed again by this thing. Picks it gave me.
I still need to go and beat the weapons from my last run. I did everything else, but
yeah.
All right, so I think that's about it for the state of the podcast. All right, so next is, what have we been up to? Rich.
All right, so Alundra. I'm about 10 hours in. I just beat the Ancient Shrine. Took a little break there, so it's not bad of a game. Like I said, we'll get to the review on it. It is a very platformy puzzle game, obviously. I still don't know what qualifies this as an RPG, but whatever. But it's still pretty good. 9 to 10 hours. Gold or the Ancient Shrine. I have no idea what to do next. So that's awesome.
It's like it plays like a Zelda, classic Zelda, right?
It does. Kind of like Yeast was when we did our first game of that, and it was a bunch of bump and grind action. It was basically, but this one here you actually have to hit stuff. I know, it was a good time. So you just have to hit stuff. You use a button to swing a sword or a flail or something like that. But just in case if everybody doesn't know what a Golden Years game is, just want to let everybody know that those are games before the PlayStation 3 era onto the Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, and maybe a couple further back.
Right. But this show used to be the Golden Years with you and Bill.
Golden Years.
Golden Years. I need to get that as a drop on here.
So we can introduce that to it. So that's what the Golden Years is. We have a big list of games. It's over 500 games that we're going to be attempting to play. There are some good ones on that list. There are also some holy crap games on there that just are nightmarish.
How many of you guys actually made it through?
10
like about 15, I think.
10 to 15, I think, yeah.
Oh, it's not too bad.
There's some games that I've given up on. There's a few games I've given up. Like halfway through, I'm like, screw this crap, I'm out. This is nuts. I'm not doing this. So that's what I've been doing. A couple games I've been playing the last week. Me and Jay have started Tales of Materia.
I still might join you guys on that, but I need to finish Astral Chain first. So
yeah.
We'll see.
Well, it's on sale on PlayStation, by the way, guys. It's usually it's $60 for the PlayStation Network. Now it's $14.99. I think, Jay, was that right? It was.
Yep. Okay. I got it with tax. I got it for like $16 and a penny.
Yeah. So if you want to join us with that one, I think that's something me and Jay are looking at doing a little bit differently.
It very well could be our first after years review.
Could be. And then I think that's pretty much all I've been playing besides that and Alundra. So
how long is Alundra supposed to be?
Somebody said 40 hours, and I about wanted to pass out. I hope to God it's not, because
you're going to have to step on it then. I think you had a resolution to 1 golden year game a month.
I'm going to try.
You're going to have to take it with you to the gym, and like in between sets, you're going to have to play it.
Yeah. My problem is it would probably get smashed by accident dropping a weight on it. Oops. No. And, I did change out from a regular OG Switch to a Switch Lite yesterday. So change that up. I'm working on getting my Switch back up and running. Huh? I
said, you do you.
I know. I just never played the thing on dock mode. I don't have any kids, and I'm the one that plays it. So it's just it's pretty nice. I don't mind it. So but that's all me.
You've started Tales of Berseria as well, right, Jay?
Yep. So this week, if it is my turn, I've played Tales of Berseria. I think that's how it's pronounced. Fire Emblem Fates, Dragon Quest VIII, Pokemon X, and then Jackbox Party 2 and 3. So I've kind of been all over the place. But Tales of Berseria, I started on, when was that? Friday night, I think, is whenever I started it. Played it for about 2.5 hours or so. Didn't get to play it at all yesterday, but I'm really liking it. As most people probably know, if they've ever listened to any of the past episodes, I'm a huge anime nerd. Not quite like weeaboo waifu status, but I'm a huge nerd. And it seems like the Tales games are the mix of anime and RPG. So like true JRPG, whereas like maybe Final Fantasy is not necessarily, anime-esque. Yeah, I'm really liking it so far. I like Fire Emblem Fates. That one's pretty good so far.
Is that the one that stars Corrin?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
I like it, but I think it's making me think too hard. Like I'm not a huge strategy game person. So the fact that I'm
started with Awakening, because that's supposed to be like one of the best ones. Whereas I didn't hear super great things about Fates.
I probably should have, but my day job usually fries my brain. So by the time I want to play video games, I want it to be pretty dang simple. And unfortunately, I right out of the gate, I was getting my butt kicked in Fire Emblem Fates. And so I was like, I don't know if I'm going to play through this right now.
So how much have you guys played of Tales of Berseria already?
I'm not too far into it. I think the average game time is around 45 hours, I think, maybe. Gotcha. I'm only like 2.5 hours in.
What about you, Rich?
About 2.5 hours as well. I think me and Jay are about the same spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, I have to go find a demon and slay it in order for somebody to fix my boat.
Has it been good so far?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been interesting.
I watched that review that you posted, and it does seem like something even Corey might like. So
it's a little dark.
It is dark. I was always under the expectation that most Tale games are really cheery and usually bring like the feel-good aspect of a lot of anime to the action RPG, JRPG style of gameplay. But this one's really dark. Right out of the gate, it's dark and a little spooky. But for some reason, Gracie, my daughter's like totally into it. I don't know if she thinks the main character is just like super cool, but she sat up and watched me play the entire time I was playing it.
She's kind of hot. The main character is, I'm just gonna say.
Not Gracie, right?
No.
The main come on,
character.
Rich.
The main character. Holy crap. The main character is
I just dressed.
Nope.
You're gonna go make Bill's daughter a single parent or something.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that. Oops. Word tie. No, the main character is actually pretty hot. Like the design of her is phenomenal, but does not work in any way in combat. Just gotta throw that out there.
Yeah. No. And the combat's pretty fun too. It's kind of button mashy. I think it's supposed to get more complex the farther along you get, the more difficult it is. But funny story. So the first kind of large boss battle that you have right before you escape the spoiler warning. The place where bad people go. You escape and you have to fight a boss battle. And this dude was just killing me in one hit. And I was like, what is going on? I'm just dying. I tried over like 10 times. And I was like, this can't be right. So I looked at the difficulty and accidentally had it on the hardest difficulty. I was like, okay, no wonder. So I had to bump that back down to normal, and then I smashed him. But I was getting so frustrated because he just kept killing me in one hit. And I'm like, I don't understand what I'm doing wrong.
Cool. I think that we might actually end up joining you for the Tales of Berseria if we can finish Astral Chain anytime soon.
Yeah,
Corey's about to finish Fire Emblem very soon, so
I imagine I'm going to move on to more Tales games. This one is very fun, and it's checking the majority of the boxes that I'm looking for right now. I've been binging a lot of anime to the point to where I don't have much more anime to watch. So now this is kind of like allowing me to play a game and get that same kind of
there's
anime
always
storytelling.
Anime, Jay.
not one that I'm interested in watching.
One more well, I have a couple questions for you. Last time you were on, didn't you say you started Dragon Quest IX? If I remember right.
I did, and I stopped playing it in favor of Dragon Quest VIII.
Okay, Dragon Quest VIII is supposed to be one of the best ones, so probably a good choice.
Yeah, the reason I stopped 9 and started 8 is because I've heard that 8 kind of does some world building for 11, I think is the one that's on the Switch.
Oh,
so
it must be excellent.
Yep, and it's pretty good so far. It's very much Final Fantasy-esque, of course. The one thing that I'm not a huge fan of is just how cartoony it is. Like all the bosses are like so far have been really comedic and kind of cheesy, and
I think that's just Dragon Quest.
Yeah, I do too. And I don't know quite how I feel about it, but other than that, I really enjoy it.
Playing Pokemon X again instead of I thought you were starting Sword and Shield over, or whichever one it is you have. Sword.
Yeah, I haven't really touched my Switch that much. I don't know. I'm just not feeling it at the moment. So
gotcha.
Just on the go, I'll have Pokemon X, and I think Pokemon X is the only one I haven't played all the way through.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I'll go next to Pokemon Town. We are still playing Astral Chain. We played it for quite a while last night. I still like the game. It's super fun, but I'm starting to get a little frustrated with it just because I feel like you can go like compared to the beginning of the game, you go long stretches without any major plot developments. It's like there are cut scenes, but it's like, okay, this monster's destroying the city and nothing's really happening. Like I've literally ran into the main villain about 3 times now, and each time she just sort of says something ominous and then runs off. So it's like nothing is super happening, and it's not that long a game. I think there's 12 chapters, and I just finished chapter 7. So I'm like, okay, we got a lot of plot threads that need to start like resolving and shit. Anyway, we're also still playing Captain Toad, which I think we only have a few stages left of before we can call that quits. Corey is really close to finishing Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Like I think he's literally in the chapter before the last one. Of course, that's only one campaign out of 3 plus. So that game may not come off the still playing list after that. And then I did play the Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC. I beat the main campaign part of that, and I have mixed feelings. It's a lot of retreading of the last 3 hours of the game. Like you literally have to watch most of those cutscenes again, and then interspersed is like little new bits and new scenes. You do get to control new characters, but it's like literally for one battle. There are some cool parts. Like later on, you get to explore a new world. So it's okay, but I would only recommend it for Kingdom Hearts fans.
This is on my list for the record. We really should review it, but I'm having a hard time actually wanting to play it, depending on how well received this idea is. I would not be opposed to just catching up on what story the DLC actually gives and maybe watching some gameplay just so we can talk about it on an episode. But yeah. I don't know. I imagine that I would have to do some grinding on my current save of Kingdom Hearts 3 so I can actually beat the game, and I just would much rather play something else.
Well, It's good for Kingdom Hearts fans, and I think just watching it, honestly, it would probably be enough, especially considering it's $30. But there's also like a bonus, like limit cut episode after you finish the main part of the DLC, and that's like 13 super bosses. You fight every member of Organization 13 separately, and then you fight. I don't think this is a spoiler to say this because it's in the trailer. Yozora.
So I've seen some tweets saying that in true Kingdom Hearts fashion, everybody is just more confused than they were before the DLC.
I haven't watched it yet, but I started to try to fight a couple of them again last night, and then Corey was like, "Okay, you can just watch it." So I'm gonna pull that up on YouTube soon. Other than that, I watched Witcher episode 3, so you guys should be proud of me. I might finish it this year. And then we watched the Lion King remake last night, which everything you've heard about it is true. It's not terrible, but why would you ever watch that over the original?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Real quick, this is not relevant to anything except movies. Has anybody seen Cats?
No, I heard it's like a weird orgy thing.
I've heard plenty of reviews. I've heard that it's so bad you need to watch it. I've
heard it's so bad that it like transcends like so bad it's good.
Exactly, yeah. It's just so terrible. It goes to this point to where it's probably just going to have a huge cult following in like 20 years.
That'd be awesome. Like The Room, maybe. Well, anything else we need updates on, fellas, for that?
No.
Nope, I think we're good to move on.
Okay. So before we get to the main discussion, we need a Twitter bracket update as far as the game of the decade competition that we started several weeks ago. So we are now in the semifinals. We got through the initial round. We decided what the best game of each year between 2010 and 2019 was. And so we're on to round 2, which is technically the semifinals because there's only one more round after that. So for the first match, which was 2010 through 2012, it was Mass Effect 2, Skyrim, and Diablo 3. And Skyrim won by quite a lot with 63.9% of the vote. So Mass Effect and Diablo are out. And then...
So I'm kind of surprised and not surprised at the same time that Skyrim won by such a large margin.
Yeah,
I thought Mass Effect would have had more.
I was sort of expecting Diablo 2 to go up against it more equally.
That's what I thought too. I thought Diablo 2. Yeah, Diablo 3 was going to do way more than that, but I think it's because Elder Scrolls, the Skyrim game, has so many people following it and play it constantly. So that's probably why.
Skyrim is so legendary at this point.
Yeah. Yep.
So what happened with the second match, Rich?
So semifinals, match number 2.
It just ended, right before we started recording.
Yeah. I don't understand. It just baffles me. So for 2013, The Last of Us, 19.1%. South Park, Stick of Truth, 12.1 or 12.4. The Witcher 3, 31.5, and the Jackbox Party Pack 3, 37.1. So what the hell is going on?
So the fact that The Last of Us only got 19% kills me.
I thought Last of Us would have, take the whole Jackbox argument out of it. I thought Last of Us would have dominated that match. No offense to Witcher.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm confused. I just don't know what's happening. If this wins, I just don't.
I am fully expecting Jackbox to win the entire thing at this point.
I blame you. I just blame you.
It was for that 1 year, which was a bad year in video games for the most part.
And it's going to win a decade.
Jackbox Party Pack 3 was the only light in that dark year. It brought so much hope that it's transcending the decade.
I liked Final Fantasy 15, but didn't love it.
So real quick, I assume none of the games I picked are on this list. They're already done, right? I think I
haven't looked into who got what or anything.
And I think it's between the two of you. Most of your games got picked, or at least won the brackets. So
I really think that people are just trolling. Anytime you give power to the people, like that, you guys remember that competition a few years back where Britain wanted somebody to name a big boat or something, or they put it in the public, and it ended up being Bodie McBoatface.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: we're gonna run with this. If this wins,
yeah, we just talked about it in our Slack channel, just trying to decide: should we let this stand? Should we try to rig the vote to where the sanctity of the poll is upheld? And we were just like,
dish out an executive order, veto it. Something.
Yeah, let the people. No. We'll let the people speak, and then this is y'all's fault. So.
Yeah, and so up next, the semifinals match 3. So I believe we just sent out this poll. So it'll be between 2017, 2018, and 2019. So Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, God of War 2018, and Fire Emblem 3 Houses. So being the biased person that I am, God of War is going to win that. Sorry.
I think so too. I would vote for Breath of the Wild, but I think God of War is just apparently so good. So
you need to play it.
I was surprised.
So it sucks that God of War would not be considered an RPG, because I would love to review it for the main show, but we need
what about this new one? You can't call it an RPG by any stretch of the imagination.
Maybe you could probably action RPG it.
You play a role in a game.
Now we're getting into some definitions there.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, that's the Twitter bracket. So go out and vote. Vote for Breath of the Wild. Don't listen to Jay. Well, and then by the time the next episode has aired, I guess we will know the final results. Well, maybe it might have just ended. Not sure. But the finals will be after that. It'll be between 3 games. So,
yeah.
All right. On with the news, which we have a jingle for.
Hear ye, gather round for all your news. Stop your clatter and listen close. Alas, you won't believe your ears. Listen close for the news.
What do you think about that, guys?
It made me think of Bill.
I had one of my British friends on Twitter record that line, and I was actually listening to his raw recording session. I was just laughing in the car listening to it, because he was literally shouting and doing a bunch of different takes of it. But yeah, we just spliced that into some village people talking, and the music there, I think, is one of the town themes from Chrono Cross.
It sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah. So people that we actually asked on Twitter a couple weeks ago, what's your favorite RPG town theme, to see if anybody had any good ideas. And there were some good suggestions, but I ended up going with Chrono Cross, which I don't think anybody suggested. So, despite having never played it.
You suggested it, Scott. Okay.
I suggested it, yeah. I think I found it because I went onto YouTube. I was like, top 10 RPG town themes.
Nice.
So anyway, that's that. On to the news. So the big one this week that I'm sure everybody listening knows about, there's a new Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer. They're calling it the theme song trailer. It shows several new characters. We get to see most of the Shinra execs we haven't already seen: Hojo, Palmer, Scarlet, Reeve. And we also saw Red 13. And we got to see Cross-Dressing Cloud, the Honeybee Inn, Tifa's Lady of the Night dress. So, yeah,
side
it was
boob.
lots of new. Yeah, lots of side boob. Side boob for days. Guys, so I don't know if we want to get into this, but I've seen a lot of people already still complaining Tifa's boobs are not big enough. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Who cares? That's the thing. I don't understand it. Who cares?
Yeah,
I agree.
Care. Lots of people care, apparently.
I haven't actually seen the trailer yet, but I have heard the theme music. I watched the making. What was it?
You watched that, kind of the behind you didn't watch the trailer.
Yeah, I have. I've seen some screenshots of the trailer, but I haven't actually. Not purposefully. I didn't purposefully skip it. It just every time I put it in my backlog, it just slipped on by.
The trailer is amazing, but that theme song, I really like it. I think it sounds really good.
Yep. I agree.
I can't wait to hear the full version of that whenever it comes out. It's by a guy named Yosh, who is apparently from a Japanese band called Save the Prophet. Never heard of them, but
I like
metal name. That is a metal name.
if they do like English vocals on their other music, then I might actually give them a listen because I really like how that main theme sounds.
Totally.
So what was your favorite part of the trailer, Rich?
So the weird thing is like Scarlet, you get to see some of those Shinra execs and how they are. Scarlet definitely, like, some things they were doing. I'm like, yeah, that wouldn't fly in an HR world. I'm just saying, you can't use a soldier as a footrest. But I really did like how they're all looking.
Yeah,
and you're getting a lot of their personality through those trailers. You know, these guys are going to be bad. And
that was classic Scarlet. So on the one hand, it's like really cartoony, but on the other hand, it's like, I want to be that soldier.
Yep, so you're in shock that Shinra doesn't have a good HR department?
I'm very shocked. I mean, I feel like there should be an HR representative showing up there.
The company that's taking advantage of the entire earth and throwing people in the slums.
Yeah. Somebody should really complain to the HR department.
HR has no power.
Yeah. And then you get to see Red 13. I thought that was really good to see him. I do like the voice actor for this guy, because in Advent Children, I hated it when he talked.
His 2 lines or 1 line or whatever it was.
Yeah, he was just like, nope, pass. He sounds stupid.
I liked it. I also really liked Advent Children also.
I did too.
I also love Advent Children.
A lot of people don't like it, and I really like it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. This game is looking better graphically than even that movie did.
It is. I was really hoping they would have kept some of the voice actors from that movie, like Cloud's character and Sephiroth, but it's time for change. I get it. And go from there.
Of course, the one big change from what happened in the original game that was in the trailer, apparently you actually have a confrontation with Sephiroth during part 1. Although I think from what I could tell, it kind of seemed like he turns into Genova right after that, and that's when the Genova boss fight is, which also didn't happen in the original. But I mean, hey, I'm all here for it. If they're going to introduce Sephiroth early, then that's a good way to do it.
Well, I imagine they're doing it because the one game is just going to take place in Midgar.
Right.
Presumably. So if they didn't do that, then you'd get an entire game without Sephiroth. And Sephiroth is like the my favorite thing about Final Fantasy VII. So
he is one of the best Final Fantasy villains.
Yeah.
I knew that we were going to see him early via Cloud's like flashbacks and memories and hallucinations and shit, but they apparently actually physically run into him.
Yeah.
I imagine they also have to do that for newcomers.
Yeah.
If newcomers play that like this remake part 1, and they see Sephiroth in like these flashbacks, but you never see him in the non-flashbacks, the real time. Yeah. And I imagine they're going to be like, "What is going on? This doesn't make sense."
It's also good because it kind of seems like they're going to make it more obvious during the first parts of the game that whenever you see Sephiroth, it is actually Genova, instead of that being a confusing plot point later. The only other comment I have, I really like seeing Scarlet. Hojo, he has Dr. Robotnik glasses now.
That was weird.
That must be like a Japanese mad scientist trope. I don't know. But anyway, all the new characters look great. I think the only major character that you meet in Midgar in the OG that we haven't seen yet now is Rufus. So that's really the only thing to look forward to. I'm feeling like after that trailer, I don't need to see anymore. Like I've already seen more than I kind of wanted to, for the most part. So
yeah, I imagine they might release one more thing since they had to push back the date.
Yeah,
but
well. I would assume they're going to probably do something special for us for doing that, pushing that back. Hopefully, we'll see. But, oh well.
Well, anyway, moving on.
So next in the news, there is a new Kingdom Hearts mobile title coming sometime. What is it? Spring of 2020. Yeah. It's the tentative title of Project Xehanort. Apparently, it's going to kind of tell a story about why how Xehanort fell into the darkness. They actually just ended a kind of mail-in campaign where you could try and guess the name of the project, the actual title of it. But yeah, so we have that to look forward to, either like trying out for 5 minutes and then moving on.
Yeah.
And then reading about it on Wikipedia. I'm looking forward to it.
This pissed me off because a few days before they announced it, somebody said something along the lines of new Kingdom Hearts game coming sooner than you think. And I was like, mind explode. And then fuck, it's a mobile game.
Yeah, that sucks. I don't know. I'm really not interested into these side story games on Kingdom Hearts anymore. I mean, I played every single Kingdom Hearts game except for the mobile one in like a span of a month last year. And so I don't know.
Dude, why are we getting a game about Xehanort after defeating Xehanort? Like, he shouldn't. I'm hoping he's not a plot point in whatever comes next. But
you do. Yeah, whatever is in that game is going to be incredibly relevant to whatever story they're trying to tell.
Yeah, and you'll have to look it up and have no idea what's going on later if you don't.
Exactly. They're going to add in something. Like, he's going to have some sort of story with the Master of Masters, or something's going to happen.
There's a scene at the very beginning of the DLC between the Master of Masters and Xehanort, which kind of references some kind of journey that young Xehanort went on. So I'm assuming that's what this game is about. But
yep.
So the next story, the Mobius Final Fantasy, the mobile game that's been going for a few years now. Actually, maybe even longer than that. It is ending. Did either of you ever play it?
I did for like 5 minutes, and I hated
it. It's very high presentation for a mobile game.
Oh yeah,
very good graphics, super 3D. I also tried it for like 5 minutes, and I liked what I saw from the story for the most part, but the battle system was really convoluted, and I just couldn't be bothered. Record Keeper is more my jam.
Yeah, and it's on PC. I know that.
Yeah,
you can buy that on Steam, but that's about it.
So apparently they're going to conclude the story and then move on. I was just it's interesting because these games they go for a while and then they end. So
yep.
I think that probably upsets a lot of people, but not a lot of people I've heard.
Yeah, maybe like 20 people.
Yeah.
So going into the next article that we have, Final Fantasy VII pre-orders canceled. So whenever the whole switch of the release date for going from the 3rd to April, that Square Enix was sending people who pre-ordered, obviously the games, the collector's edition, all those deluxe stuff, they were sending people who did that information on how to continue their pre-orders and how to actually stop Square Enix from canceling it. So they were doing that. So if you didn't do that, you probably got an article in your email that says how to stop them from doing it. But
if you haven't pre-ordered Final Fantasy VII Remake from Square and you haven't reconfirmed, go do it.
Yeah, they're going to cancel that and you're going to be pissed off.
PSA.
Those collector's editions are very limited. So
yeah. But $400 for your cloud statue.
Yeah.
Are either of you doing that? Are you?
Nope. No, I bought mine from GameStop.
I
pre-ordered it. Yeah, that's what I did too.
The middle tier with the Steelbook and DLC and stuff.
Yep.
Steelbooks are sexy.
Yeah, they are.
If there's a Steelbook, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it for that news article. Just if you, like Scott said, if you have it pre-ordered through Square Enix, make sure you go redo it or confirm it, or you're gonna lose it.
Yep. So next up, we have some Pokemon news. 2 articles, actually. The first one being that Pokemon Sword and Shield have surpassed 16 million units sold. So that's not necessarily anything super big with Pokemon. A lot of other main title Pokemon games have made it past that mark. Some have not. However, the big difference is that Pokemon Sword and Shield are $60 games as opposed to older titles being $40 or whenever they came out. So definitely a success for the Pokemon company. Good on them. And then also we have Pokemon Home pricing and details about Pokemon Home. So for those who don't know what Pokemon Home is, it is essentially a way for you to store Pokemon up in the cloud, up in the interwebs, as well as transfer Pokemon between games. So we have, let's see, for 1 month, Pokemon Home is $2.99, 3 months is $4.99, and 12 months is $15.99. So basically what you can do with Pokemon Home, and you can connect Pokemon Home to Pokemon Bank. So basically what that lets you do is all your like DS and 3DS Pokemon games, you can send them your Pokemon from there to the Pokemon Bank, and then from the Pokemon Bank you can send it to the Pokemon Home, and then from Pokemon Home you can send it to Sword and Shield if it's a allowable.
I think I watched like 2 or 3 different videos about this, and I was still like, huh?
Yeah. The thing that sucks is that once you get it up in the cloud, you cannot get it back. So once the Pokemon are out of the Pokemon Bank and in Pokemon Home, they're stuck in Pokemon Home. Once Pokemon leave Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu and go into the Pokemon Home, you cannot get them back into Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee. That sucks. Yeah. So it's you have to be pretty careful. So if you transfer a Pokemon from Let's Go Eevee to Pokemon Home and it's not an allowable Pokemon in Sword or Shield, it's just stuck in Pokemon Home. At least that's my understanding of it. So yeah, look forward to that. It'll be a pretty cool way to catch them all, I would say. So if you want to start a new game on Sword and Shield, I imagine you can push all your Pokemon to Pokemon Home and start a new profile if you don't feel like just creating a new user on your Switch.
Is $16 a year too much? What do you think?
So now that I'm playing the 3DS Pokemon games, I can see myself doing that to get some pretty dope Pokemon from like X and Y and Sun and Moon to Pokemon Sword and Shield. But at the same time, I really want the National Pokédex and Sword and Shield so I can just do that with every Pokemon. It's a lot more because then that's very super attractive if you're a lover of Pokemon. I mean, you don't have to get rid of all your Pokemon whenever you're done with Pokemon X. Like if you have a super awesome team that you don't want to just let collect dust, then you can kind of move it through the Pokemon Bank, through Pokemon Home, and get it in Sword and Shield, and then compete, like keep your competitive Pokemon traversing games. But since Sword and Shield doesn't have the national dex, it's less appealing.
The ugly cloud of Dexit rears its head once again.
Yes. So I imagine at some point I might give it a shot. But since I don't play Pokemon competitively, I'm not 100% positive.
For purists, fans only, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll see what it does.
So the next article, Outer Wilds. I don't know anything about this game, but apparently it's really good. It got a bunch of game awards during the video game awards that we discussed in depth. It's coming to Switch on March 6th, so not that long from now. Yep. Congratulations, Switch owners.
Yay.
Anybody else got anything to say about that? I don't.
No. It's just a sci-fi Western RPG, basically. So you're out in space, and I want to say, like, think Borderlands and RPG, like, bunch of stuff together. It's supposed to be fun, but that's all I saw.
That's one of those games I might look back to in a few years and be like,
yeah,
all right, time to try that thing that everybody said was awesome.
If it's a cartridge game, I'm probably going to get it.
Yes. All right, so what's next, Jay?
Next, we have potential rumors about a remake of Knights of the Old Republic. So Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is arguably the best content that has ever come out of Star Wars, including any of the movies, period, because Star Wars movies are not that good. But yeah, Knights of the Old Republic was the first one was an Xbox game. I played the crap out of that on Xbox. The second one I think was also an Xbox game, and they were both also on PC.
It's one of those games that people still like bring up all the time today.
Yep. And then there was an MMO that came out called just the Old Republic that kind of expanded on this long time ago, even longer time ago in a galaxy far away. It's kind of like.
Do you think the rumors are true?
I really hope they are, because whenever Disney took over Star Wars, they moved everything from Knights of the Old Republic into what's called Star Wars Legends, which basically moved it out of canon. Like, it was no longer canon. Mm-hmm. The story about Revan from Knights of the Old Republic was no longer canon. There's even books about Revan too.
Actually, that would be cool if they brought it back into canon by doing a remake.
Yes, and so there are rumors about 2 games that are in production, and one of them, the biggest rumor is that it's a remake of Knights of the Old Republic. Which, if it is, and actually they haven't, there's no rumors as to whether it's a remake of Knights of the Old Republic or like a sequel that will reintroduce the story into canon. But I am a huge fan of the Revan storyline. If you aren't aware of who that is or what Knights of the Old Republic is, you can probably buy it on Steam for super cheap. It's aged pretty well considering how old the game is. The combat might be a little slow for you, but it is a very fun RPG game. Totally build your own character, choose what you say, choose dark side, light side, whatever. Multiple endings depending on how you go about the story. Very fun game.
Well, if I hope for all you Knights of the Old Republic fans that those things come to pass.
Absolutely. So the next small piece of news that we have is Horizon Zero Dawn developers are seeking multiplayer help. So just a job posting went up saying that, bonus points if you have multiplayer experience. So that kind of, raises some eyebrows, thinking that whatever game the Horizon Zero Dawn developers are making will also be a multiplayer game or have multiplayer experience. But only time will tell.
Shoehorn this shit into single player experiences.
Yeah.
Like co-op is good, but like I guarantee you that's probably for like some kind of online like versus mode somehow.
Yeah. I can kind of see that being cool with Horizon Zero Dawn, like the style of the game. It could be pretty challenging, but at the same time, I'm never going to play it.
Yeah, same. It's like, and they'll probably have exclusive trophies, so you can never platinum it. So
there you go.
What are you gonna do? Anyway, next.
Phantasy Star 2 online closed beta test running February 7th to the 9th on Xbox One. So if you are a Phantasy Star fan,
like you,
yeah, not really. Other than that, that's it. So if you want to get involved with that, definitely take a look. If you've been invited to it, check out the beta.
Yes.
February 7th to the 9th.
All right. And then just the last couple pieces of news here. Rune Factory 4 Special is coming February 25th in the US and the 28th in the EU. So if you're a Rune Factory fan, good for you.
Yeah.
And then also Disgaea 1 Complete is now available on iOS and Android. So congratulations to Disgaea people. That's something I could see myself playing one day because I think it's supposed to be sort of like Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah, I've got them on my Switch.
Anyway,
so RPGs released in the last 2 weeks. Obviously, January 23rd, Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC. The 28th was Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, and Warcraft 3 Reforged. And then on Tuesday, Dark Crystal Age of Resistant Tactics. And to February 6th, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. I don't know anything about that one, by the way.
I've never even heard of that. Yeah.
Nope.
I've heard of Grand Blue, but I don't really know what it is.
So we have some upcoming RPGs. On the 11th, we have the Western release of Yakuza 5. On the 14th, we have Darksiders Genesis and Snack World, the Dungeon Crawl Gold. That's also a Western release. And then on the 20th, we have Katana Kami, A Way of the Samurai, and Persona 5 Scramble, which both of those are Japan-only releases at the moment.
I'll be excited for Persona 5 Scramble, maybe one day in the far-flung future. So, okay. So, with all that out of the way, why don't we take a break before we get to the main discussion?
Yep.
Sounds good.
Let's do it. And we're back. So let's get on to the main discussion, fellas. The golden years versus the after years. Okay, so the whole idea behind this discussion is that each one of us would bring our favorite golden years game, which is PS2 generation prior, and our favorite after years game, which is everything after that. And we would sort of like compare and contrast our choices and just sort of decide which ones are the best, which were the golden years better, were the after years better, which one gave us like the single best offering. So, who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
So I kind of cheated on my after years. I'm going to throw that out right now. Normally, I would have picked The Witcher 3, but I'm kind of tired of talking about The Witcher 3 on the podcast, so I decided to roll with something else. So for the golden years, I picked Final Fantasy VI. So we all know Final Fantasy VI is absolutely, arguably one of the best Final Fantasies out there. And it is absolutely the best between the 1 through 6, the 2D series.
I'm a little surprised. I didn't know that you liked Final Fantasy VI that much.
I would say it's probably my favorite in terms of it being a game. It doesn't have the nostalgia effect that 10 might have on me or 8 might have on me. But as a game in its entirety, it's probably the best Final Fantasy in my experience.
It'd be hard to argue that Final Fantasy VI is even a good game. And by that, I mean, like, it's great no matter who you are.
Yeah, totally. So I knew that I wanted to pick one of the first 6 Final Fantasy games, so I had to go back and really think about this. The first one is good in its own right, but there's not much story to it. And story is one of the most important things whenever it comes to a game for me. The second one had some story, but I don't know, it was pretty much Star Wars. So I wasn't feeling it too hard. The third one actually was close to being my pick. So I've never actually played the original third one. I played the DS remake of it. And whenever I played it, I was just really, really charmed with the entire game, really. I liked how the story there was a story, but it was pretty loose. So back whenever I played it, I had a way better imagination than I do now. So I was able to kind of fill in the gaps with my own imagination whenever it came to the story.
Yeah.
And just moving around that game and playing around with different roles or whatever you want to call them. I forget what's the right terminology here. Is it roles?
Yeah, I think
jobs.
so.
Jobs. There we go. So playing around with different jobs was just super appealing to me. I remember like going to town and thinking the red mage was just the coolest. The red mage in that game was
red
so
mage
cool.
is baller.
Yeah. Final Fantasy IV was also a really close one. I have played the original and the DS remake of that one. The reason why I did not pick that one is because I remember how fast I was able to play through and beat the original one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I was able to blow through that game so fast, and it just kind of lost it for me. Never really impressed by 5. I don't even think I've played all the way through 5.
Real quick, if you had picked Final Fantasy 3, I would be giving you a lot of shit. So you came close to picking it, so you bullet dodged on your part.
I was close. But yeah, 6 overall has everything that I really look for in a game, especially a handheld game. I don't know if I would have liked this as much as if this came out on the PlayStation or PlayStation 4 as what it is, then I'd probably be like a little like you guys could have tried a little harder. But the fact that this was what did it originally come out on? The SNES?
Yep.
I think so.
And then I think it also came out on the Game Boy Advance. Just both versions looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
Just
don't play the PS1 version or the Steam version, for the love of God.
I will not. The environment was really cool. I really liked the world that they built with it. I really liked the emotional character building throughout. Pretty much, it seemed like they were able to emotionally develop a lot of characters while not pulling an Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
So they were able to develop a team of characters that were still involved in an overarching story.
Mm-hmm. Well, if I had to say something negative about Fix's story, is I think that its cast is too big.
Yeah.
About half of the characters end up not being important to the story overall.
Yeah, I can't say I remember most of the characters. I do need to go back and play it. I think that would be a fun one to do another replay and even review. But yeah,
Kefka is my favorite Final Fantasy villain, personally.
Kefka's, yeah. Whenever, spoiler alert for Final Fantasy VI, I remember whenever he, he poisoned that entire city.
Yeah.
Like, I remember whenever that happened, I was like, this dude's a baller. Like, oh my God, he is terrible.
It's like the Joker of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, he's so terrible. But yeah, I really liked the diverse terrain. You have the desert and then everything that's not a desert.
Right.
And it was just really cool. I also liked the summoning and kind of magic system.
Yeah, the magicite, learning all your different spells and things based on your summons you have equipped.
Yep, totally. I think it made a little more sense than a lot of the it made more sense than the Materia system, I would say. But yeah, I would say it made less sense than just somebody being able to summon and that being their magic power. But yeah, Final Fantasy VI, great game. It's probably the one I chose for my Golden Years pick. That may change in a year as I play more older games again, but yeah, that's what I decided.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Rich, what about your Golden Years game?
All right. So let's see if I can pronounce this correctly. Legend of Legaia.
Shocker.
Hey.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. So I got slammed for mispronouncing it again today earlier. But I really like this game because I think it was one of, like, I didn't really start playing RPGs until like right after 7. So it honestly for me was such a great experience to play that game. The combat system with it was a lot more different than I had seen with other RPGs that I was trying to get into. I mean, you have to select up, down, right, left, like your right arm, your left arm, your up, high up kick or low kick. And then when you get those combination of moves or movement with your body, you get to do special like movements and attacks. So I just like the story. It was not the way it integrated in with all that.
Did you actually finish it?
Oh yeah. I finished it several times. Yeah. The story is not overcomplicated. All you're doing, and spoiler alert for everybody, is you are in a small town, very small town that's been cut off from the rest of the world because of mist that makes the animals outside called Shrew, go insane. And that's why everybody is holed up in towns and trying to keep the mist away. And, that's it.
So when you say small towns, are you talking like Pallet Town small, where it's just 2 buildings?
A little bigger than Pallet Town. So you've got
Meridian City.
Yeah, that. So your story just kicks off when because the town that you're in is actually walled off, so the mist can't get over it, and things happen, and your main character is involved in seeing some people pass away because of this mist and what had happened, and then the wall is destroyed.
I've never finished it myself because there's a couple mechanics that really drive me up the wall. But from what I do remember, and keep in mind this was 10 or 15 years ago, I did like the game. The combat system is really interesting. It's almost like turn-based Street Fighter in a way.
Yeah.
Picking the directions that you want to do your martial arts combos and shit.
Yeah, and then you could chain all them together to make do all some crazy stuff, and then you get this magic animal from a tree out of it's called a seed, a Gaia tree seed, and then in that seed is a Rashiru. Is that how to say it right?
Yeah,
sweet. And it talks to you because it's connected to your body, and it gives you special powers that you can collect, which is part of the combat system that Scott does not like, is actually capturing certain Shuru to be kind of like summons, like magic, basically.
There's like a whole randomness factor to capturing them in it. I think I always tried to capture them as soon as I ran into them, and I think you're supposed to wait till you're stronger later to try and capture them.
I don't know. I did the same thing. It's kind of like Pokemon. I try to collect them all.
Yeah, it's
so
bullshit.
Yeah, but the story's great. I enjoyed it. It's again not too crazy. There's not a boss swap.
That's good.
That's awesome. You don't get to have that.
I remember that the first villain ends up getting replaced, Rich.
Somewhat. You've got there's not a boss swap. There's just two. There's two bosses. You know both of them, but it's not like, Final Fantasy IX or something where you fight, this one person, all of a sudden out of nowhere, the Tree of Death shows up and you're like, who the hell are you?
And you've never played this, right, Jay?
No, I've never played it. I'm actually looking at some images now, and it PlayStation, right?
Yeah, PS1.
I will never play it.
Why not?
I just can't, like that PlayStation era. I just have such a hard time going back and playing it.
It's kind of like Final Fantasy VII, where the overworld graphics are pure shit, but the battles look a lot better. But
yeah. I think if you can, for you, like if you were able to shrink it down on like a computer, maybe do what you normally do.
If I could play this on my 2DS, it might look bearable.
Yeah.
So I think it's just good.
I don't think either of us are shocked at your choice.
No.
And how far down the list is this now? Is it like 2 or 3 games away?
It's 2-3 games away. I'm super excited about this because I'm hoping other people play it too at the same time. Who knows? Like I may get into it and play the whole thing and go, why was I thinking of this? This is crazy. No. This game was definitely a toss-up for me between another game. But it kind of leaned into this one. Legends of Dragoon was another one of my picks for that, but
another game that looks like shit today.
Yeah, it does. It does. But it's a good story.
Yeah, I want to play both of those whenever we get to them. So.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Are you able to purchase it like is it on Steam or anything?
No. You could buy Legends of Dragoon on PlayStation Network, like through your Vita if you have one. So no,
I don't have one.
So yeah, you can play it.
How, Rich? How may I play this?
You will find. I'll send you stuff.
Life finds a way.
Yeah, I've got a copy that I can send you.
What format is it in?
It's
Rich?
Actual disc format. I'll have to mail it to you. No.
So, all right. So my Golden Years game, I don't think this is going to be a shock to anybody here either, is Final Fantasy X.
Get out of here.
One of Rich's favorite games.
Get out.
I think you're supposed to use the drop here.
Oh, yeah. We have one drop for this.
Son of a bitch.
I'm so glad I loaded that on.
The Japanese version of that's way worse, by the way.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fucking crow.
Oh, it's so terrible.
I don't care what you guys say. Final Fantasy X, I think it still holds up. I'm actually playing through it right now with a friend. We just got past Macalania. I still think all the characters are great. The story is amazing. It's not my favorite battle system in all of Final Fantasy, but everything else offsets that enough to not matter. I just think the story is one of the most beautiful stories ever told in video games.
Okay, I'll give you that. The story is good, but if they make Titus, however you want to pronounce it, if he made him a little tougher,
Titus.
If you made him tougher, I'd have probably been more on board with this game.
He's tougher towards the end. That's the point. He was back in Xanarkand. He was a spoiled athlete. He got everything he wanted. He, was living the life. Never had to worry about anything.
Yep.
And then he gets pushed into this world where he doesn't understand anything and nothing's given to him. And
to be honest, like people always, that is a plot point that he's a crybaby.
Yeah.
But
Jet, he's always calling him a crybaby.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, if I was in his shoes and I got transported to another world with no hopes of returning to my beloved home and lavish lifestyle, I don't think I would have handled it as well as Titus did.
You'd probably be crying the whole time. Just sit down, just start crying.
I would probably have been killed by the little fish monsters that he runs into immediately.
Oh, definitely. The fact that he can hold his own right out of the gate is just crazy.
Yeah. I think the characters are all great. It's just I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. I fucking love it. Maybe it's a little bit of nostalgia, but that is my favorite video game of all time. Even more than my After Years game, which we will get to in a little bit.
Yeah, I do like Final Fantasy X a lot. I just have a problem, like the same issue like I just brought up with Legend of Legaia. It's just I'm not going to be able to play it on a big TV. Like it's just I don't know. I'm spoiled nowadays.
I think that it still looks decent though, like the remaster does anyway.
Yeah, I have the remaster for the PS4, and I don't know. I just can't.
I have it for the Switch.
Can't get into it. Maybe I should have got it for the Switch and just play it on my Switch handheld.
This is going to be a more common problem as we get more and more younger gamers into the mix.
Yeah.
No, I can't play certain, like I've talked about this before, but I can't play certain older games with Corey because the graphics have to be to a certain standard for him to get into it. Usually,
yeah, it's just it's about immersion, and I just can't. And whenever I played this Final Fantasy X, like 2002, 2003, it was great. Like it looked good. I never remember being like, oh, this person walks like they're not real whatsoever.
Right.
Or like, why is it like, I never had any issues with the fact that you can't control the camera. It's all fixed viewpoint.
Right.
But now I do. I don't like fixed viewpoint games. So
yeah, I think for Corey, the 10 remasters graphics are right on the line as to like what's too old and what's not that he can take. So
yeah. I would say character modeling isn't even an issue. I would say probably the fixed camera angle is my biggest gripe.
Can you imagine an open world Spira with
that would be dope.
That would be awesome. They would have to expand it a lot.
A Final Fantasy X remake like they're doing with Final Fantasy VII would be amazing.
I do want that.
Lulu's belts.
I want a 6 through 10 all need to be remade, really. But
I would probably want 10 remade before I want 6.
Interesting.
I want 9.
I don't
9
care
would be
about
good
9.
too.
Whatever.
Oh shit.
Whatever. They got to keep Lulu's belts. All of the belts that she has.
The belts cannot leave. That's for sure.
Yeah, all of that, which makes no sense, but whatever.
It's such a 2000s design.
Yep.
The designs in that game in general are crazy as far as like the character costumes.
Yeah.
Even the NPCs are crazy looking. All right, so that's mine. So we want to move on to After Years now?
We can. And since I was first with the golden years, sorry, I had a little hiccup there. I can be the first for the After Years. So this is, like I had said, I diverged a little bit. We were supposed to pick our After Years of all time, and I was really struggling with it. I didn't want to talk about The Witcher again because it'd be like a 2-minute conversation. So I went ahead and picked Persona 5.
So what you're saying is your true After Years game is Witcher, but you have selected Persona 5.
Well, I don't. I'm in a very difficult point in my gaming life right now. I haven't played enough games to pick anything other than The Witcher, but I'm trying to play more.
You're having like your midlife gaming crisis.
Exactly. Yeah. But Persona 5 is a really, really good RPG, JRPG specifically. Have either of you played any of Persona 5? It's the only Persona game I've played.
I've played the opening like 3 hours.
So you did not get anywhere at all, is what you're saying?
Well, it's more like I had a friend that wanted us to show it to us, so we played it while he was over, and then we never went back to it. But they're doing the Royal Edition in a few months with like to complete all the DLC and expansions and shit. We're gonna get that and play it, I think, because Corey did enjoy Persona 5 from what we played of it, and he wants to get back into it. Also, he's maining Joker in Smash now, so I think that got him more interested.
Yeah, Joker's super dope, especially his persona. Well, I guess Joker is his persona of the main character.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a super cool concept. I am almost finished with it. I have not. It's a very long game, so I'll throw that out right now. I have not beaten it, and it's going to be hard for me.
Yeah, I didn't even know you had played it before until you put it up there.
Yep, I have played it. So the combat's really, really good. It's a pretty typical turn-based combat, but there's a lot of twists on it. A lot of different cool little aspects that make it a little more interesting than just the typical attack magic. But what really shines, in my opinion, is just the whole entire concept of it, of the story, I guess. So like I had said, this is my first Persona game. I haven't played any of the other ones, so I had no idea really what I was going in for. But the concept behind it, and again, I might accidentally drop some spoilers, so be warned. Basically the main characters in this game are able to go inside of the psyches of specific people that just have like really disturbing issues, or like their problems have taken on a form of their own. Their mental state has taken on a form of their own, and the characters are able to go into these other dimensions that are kind of built around these people's psyche and mental state, and kind of like fix the problem. And it's super cool. It's a super neat concept of, I guess, diving into the psychology behind the reason somebody is the way they are, or like showing how what you see in the real world isn't necessarily how things are like behind the scenes. Like just because somebody's acting like a super good person, that doesn't mean they're not doing something shady on the side and like really mentally disturbed, or have some weird twisted shape of reality and have their own reality. It's just a really cool concept of the palaces being built. So the palaces in the game are where somebody has like it's their own shape of the world, their own form of the world has become so distorted and so powerful, it like takes on it manifests into a palace, and you have to, it's just a big dungeon. Right. Where you go down into it, go through a bunch of levels, and eventually get to fight a big boss and bring their palace down and expose them for what they are, basically. But it's has also a weird relationship kind of aspect of the game. So you have the main character and then all the side characters, and you can build your relationship with the side characters.
Who did you romance, Jay?
I don't think I've gotten all the way to romancing because it's so time consuming. Yeah. But you will. It's very easy to waste a lot of time. Like you can sit down for 3 hours and not feel like you got anywhere, because it's all like calendar based. Like, oh, you have 2 weekdays until you need to go do this palace stuff, and so it's just a very time consuming game. That's why I've taken a step back. I would love if one of you started playing it and to kind of push me towards finishing it, and then we can review it.
We absolutely plan to play this this year. Hopefully not long after it comes out, but that's also not long after the 7 remake. So
right. Yeah, we could probably end up doing that. It's just all of us get together and play that every so often when it comes out.
The problem is just such a long game.
Yeah.
So that might just be a year thing.
The main complaint I've heard about this game is that they could have cut out like 40 hours by not having the same conversations over and over between the characters. Like I've heard the conversations, they are very repetitive.
They are. That's very true. A lot of conversation you can probably try and skip through. Like I find myself just like skipping a lot, because it's like you're describing the same thing over and over again. I already know what a palace is. You don't have to re-describe it. But I imagine they do that. They might do that.
I just took a shot a second ago.
I did see that. See, how's your nose hairs?
They're fine. I'm a real man, Jay.
Oh man, I'm not. But yeah, so I imagine they do that. They probably reiterate a lot, because you'll take like a 6-week break from playing the game, and they have to be like, okay, well, I don't know what any of this means again.
Yeah, well, we'll get to it, and I think the cool part about that game is just the presentation, right? Like everything looks amazing, and the menus are like super fly.
Yeah, it's a very comic book style superhero
super anime
art design. Yeah, it's very cool. I like it.
Okay, well, that's probably a good choice. So what's your after years choice, Rich?
All right, so Final Fantasy 15. So I picked that one because, whatever.
Yes.
I'm okay with this.
Get out of here. So the reason why I really liked it is because of the story behind it when it first came out. Like, it was so engaging, had a lot of emotion to it and everything. The combat was good. I played the demo. Like, I followed this game since Final Fantasy Versus 13 was announced. And then it disappeared, and just such the journey that it's had since it first was announced to now.
And now it's coming back. Hashtag Yozora.
Yep. So it's definitely one of my top ones because, again, the emotions it had behind it between Noctis and Luna, all that was really good.
There were emotions between Noctis and Luna? I'm not sure.
The emotions that I felt towards those two, not because of them, whatever.
Okay, I'm going to be nice because you were nice to me about 10, so I'll shut up for a second.
Shit, we could have just went back and forth on that one.
Yeah.
But yes, there are flaws to that game. Absolutely, there are flaws. Obviously, you could tell that they try to rush it out with the stories, the Kingsglaive story, all of that together. I cannot stand fishing games in games anymore. Can we just stop that crap?
The Japanese love it, man. Like, they have to be in every game. I don't get it, but
Dragon Ball Z Kakarot also has some fishing.
Okay,
Shocker.
The world's ending. The world is ending. Your dad was killed. Let me take 5 hours to go fishing because it soothes me. While the army is probably right behind you the entire time.
You're supposed to be convincing us why this is a great game, Rich.
Okay, sorry. That was my gripes about it. The reason I liked it, the graphics, the storyline, I liked how they tried to incorporate different mediums into this, as your movie, your anime that they had. Just the stuff with that, I think, was a phenomenal job. Yeah. But I think we're going to see a theme too with all of new Final Fantasy games going forward. I think you're going to see a lot of open world. Maybe this combat's going to be sticking around because there's no turn based. I did miss that with this one, but
we'll
I
see.
just think it was good.
I think the 7 remake is going to be a good indicator of where Final Fantasy is going after 15.
I think so as well. So I am not going to argue with you, Rich. I enjoyed 15 quite a lot. I remember spending the whole day when it came out, like watching all the anime, watching Kingsglaive, and then playing through the game. And 15 was probably my first introduction back into actually gaming, because I had taken several years from barely touching video games until that game came out. And then I bought it and just went to town and kind of fell back in love with RPGs, specifically JRPGs. I think 15 had the potential to be one of the best Final Fantasies or just one of the best stories ever told, period. It was very, like, the highs were so high, but the lows were also so low. They cut a lot of corners in the story that just needed to be fleshed out more. Like, especially the ending, like the last hour could have been the pinnacle of such an amazing, like, epic tale, but they did such a bad job from the beginning until the end. They did such a bad job tying everything together that the ending was, like, pretty much the only thing that stood out. But I think the ending was phenomenal.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Did you like hold on before you go on that one, Scott? Did you like the campfire scene? The very end of the game?
I think I remember it. Yeah, I think I remember it, and I didn't have any issues at all with the end.
That is the strength of 15's story, is the brotherhood between the 4 bros.
Yeah. That campfire scene to me was just very emotional because, spoilers if you haven't played this game, whatever. But during that campfire scene, he is basically telling his guys, his bros, that, we're going to do this. I'm going to die. So this is what's happening. And he's, like, thanking him and being really emotional about why he loves them. Yeah. Basically, I was like, that was very powerful.
Yeah, that is a fantastic scene. And just to piggyback off of what Jay was saying, 15 had a ton of potential. It's a fun game. I like 15, but I just also think that the story it had so much potential. It's like they only needed, another dozen scenes, and it would have connected everything so well, and the story would have worked. It's fun to play. I love the gameplay.
They were worried too much about the extra stuff.
And Arden was such a good villain.
Oh yeah, one of the best Final Fantasy has ever had.
Phenomenal. But the problem is that they didn't give enough time to build his story either. Like, the majority of the game, you have no idea what he's doing and why he's doing it.
Yeah.
And so
I have to go into the DLC to get that part.
Yeah, and so like towards the end, like during the final boss battles against him, it's like I don't necessarily understand why he's doing this in the first place. Like, why did Arden do this? I don't quite get it. Why on earth is, spoiler alert, why on earth is Noctis having to sacrifice himself in order to defeat him? Like, why is this? I understand that it's happening and that it's very touching and very moving, and they kind of somewhat explain it, but at the same time, it's like it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I wrote an article not long after it came out about how to fix the story. And it was like, actually, it wouldn't be that hard because it's already, all the groundwork is there. It's like needed a few more kicks. I do like 15, and I still think we could do a whole episode on 15. But
they did also really screw up the Luna Freya.
That's the worst part of the story. Her spoiler. ... Her death. It's a great scene, but also like I didn't necessarily super connect with her or care about her when it happened.
She was only in like 2 scenes before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why did she die? Like, why did she have to die? Like, I don't get that. Like, I get how she died.
She got fucking shivved.
Yeah, she did. But like, why? Like, why did Arden want to do that?
She's the Oracle, and Arden had a grudge against the Oracle and the King.
Which is true. Like, I understand that, but like, all of a sudden he pops out of nowhere and says, "Hey, by the way, stabby stab." So,
that Leviathan battle's sweet though.
Oh yeah,
that's why I say like that was a great scene, is because that whole section of the game is the best part of the game for me. Like that part was amazing, but if only the rest of the game had lived up to it.
Did they ever make it to where you were able to activate that power throughout just the normal game? I can't remember.
What power?
As you're battling Leviathan, like the I don't remember any of the terms. It's been 5 years since I've played the game. That astral form that you play as during the Leviathan battle.
I don't think so.
Arden.
They gave you the ring to where you could like sort of like insta kill enemies.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
doing that to low level enemies was insane.
Yeah,
just like pop. So anyways.
I think I'm confused by the fact that the After Years covers like maybe the last 12 years, and that's your pick.
I know.
Rich.
All right. The emotional ride that I have with that game just makes it one of my favorites. So
to each their own.
Yeah.
All right. So, and then finally, my After Years game. I don't think either of you have played this, so this is going to be tough. But my After Years game is Portal 2.
I didn't even know the Portal games had stories.
That's crazy because the story of the Portal games are so great. I mean, the gameplay is super fun too. But
the only thing I know is that you can shoot a wall with your portal gun and walk through it.
You should play them because the first one takes like maybe 4-ish hours to get through, assuming you're not an idiot.
That's depressing.
The second one is more of a full-fledged game. But basically, there's this. You are a woman named Chell, a silent protagonist, of course.
No, you're a woman.
Fuck you. No. You wake up in this facility where they're trying to train people or test people on how to use the portal gun, but the company that is running these tests has been overrun by their AI, which her name is GLaDOS. And she is hilarious. Like she calls you fat all the time, and it's just you have to play it to see it. But I highly recommend it. This is also kind of a spoiler because Portal 2 was my game of the decade, and it got eliminated in the first round. But
yeah, it did survive.
I didn't think it would get far, but it's got this Portal 2 has a great co-op mode as well. It's fun to play through the whole co-op campaign with a friend. It just the dialogue and the writing in Portal 2 is so off the charts. Like it had me laughing on almost every stage. There's a lot of comedy to it as well. It's hard for me to talk about it because you guys haven't played it. So
spoil it. I don't care. I
Go for it.
It's not that I'm worried about spoiling. It's just like you can't agree with me or disagree with me or anything.
I'll agree with you.
Oh, thanks, man. But you learn about GLaDOS's past in the second one. You're trying to get out. There's another character, Wheatley, who's kind of like Ricky Gervais type character. It's just like a total idiot, but like playing it off very well.
Does he drop bombs like he did at the was it the was it Golden Globes, or is it
I forget which, but it's
that
sort
was
of like
great.
that.
That was great.
The actual gameplay, it is a puzzle game, so you have to think about where the different portals are taking you and how they work, how physics work and shit. But it never gets too hard. Like you might get stuck on a puzzle, and then you just look it up, and then you're fine. But the story
can't handle that.
Corey really loves it too. We did a whole let's play of Portal 2. So if you don't want to play it, you can go watch that at the Scott Spot. Not that I care about promoting my channel anymore.
Maybe you should port those over.
Yep.
Yes, just put them all on the After Years channel.
Yep.
So I don't think a lot of our audience has played Portal 2. I highly recommend it. In my opinion, it is one of the most perfect games ever released.
Sounds quite underrated.
Yeah.
I think it got the recognition it deserved, but it's just one of those, the fact that it's a puzzle game, it's like not super mainstream, I guess.
I've heard a lot of people say they really liked it whenever it came up. So it's not that it's a bad game and everything. Me personally, my brain can't connect all that stuff. Something
the
simple.
synapses don't like talk from point A to point B.
Yeah, nope.
It's just some people may say Rich is dumb. I don't say that, but some people might.
Yeah, Bill does. So yeah, it's not for me, but from what I've seen and what people talked about, it's a really good game, and it does deserve a lot of good praise for it, for sure.
All right, so I put that out into the world. How are we going to decide which of these is like the true like winner of the years? Is there a way for us to? Because I think we would all kind of pick our own.
Well, not necessarily. Like for one, Portal 2 is not an RPG though, so
that's true.
Out.
Oh,
sorry,
Scott.
Is that? I mean, I didn't realize that was a qualifier. I thought we were just doing our favorite games.
I know. You did specify.
Don't make me drive out to the Midwest.
Sorry.
You don't want to come here.
Yeah, nope. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would probably pick one of the other ones besides mine.
I thought about doing another Twitter bracket, but it seemed a little soon after the first one. Our first.
I definitely don't vote on Legend of Legaia.
Yeah, you can go to hell.
I can vote on 10. I can go 10.
What about Bill's? Like, do we know what his is? I'm pretty sure we're going to be discussing his later.
That's true. Okay. Should we go ahead and do Tea Time with Bill now?
Let's do it.
Okay. We got a new jingle, so prepare your butts. Let me find it here. There it is.
It's like Samuel Jackson. Pull on your butts.
And now, it's time we join an old friend once again. It's Tea Time with Bill. Hello and welcome to the first ever Tea Time with Bill. Yes, I am Bill. I am your Tea Time host. I used to be a full host. Sad times, but I know Scott's going to ridicule me for it. Yes, so what am I here to talk about? I am here to talk about the olden days of RPGs, which is kind of my expertise. Well, should be my expertise in about 10 years' time once I've actually played all the olden games. God, 10 years, I'll be lucky to get even like a fifth of the way through the list. Anyway, what's going on the RPG golden years at the moment? Currently, we are in the middle of playing Alundra. So, Rich, I'll be very pleased to hear where you are in the game, because you won't actually tell us. Like, I'm 5 hours in. Oh, that's great. Where are you? Myself, I have finally finished the Magiskar dungeon, which had some very complicated the priest of the town has actually been a bad boy. He's been praying to a bad god, which isn't ideal. So hopefully, I'm working my way through the sanctuary, trying to work out the mystery of why this guy is praying basically to the bad guy. We think he's being tricked. and he thinks he's praying to the real God, but actually he's praying to a bad man whose name's escaping me at the moment. Can't remember what his name is. Begins with an M, like Mercedes or something. It's called a Mercedes. Oh, Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes? Anyway, but I haven't done too much Alundra because I've been very, very busy on another big project that is part of now, after years of RPGs. Guys, it's Materia Lockdown. It's coming back. And when's it coming back? It's coming back March 3rd. Okay, without delays. Hopefully we won't get delayed to April 10th. But no, yeah, I thought that would be a nice, funny little joke to play. If you guys want to get involved with the Materia Lockdown, it is coming back. We have made a few minor changes. So now, if you choose a single run, you will only get the single jobs, much as before. And now, if you choose a combo run, you'll only get combination jobs, whereas before you used to get single jobs as well. And then I think that also translates down to the blue mine role. So the blue mine role will only be combination jobs. So combinations of 2 materia only. We have taken out the single materia options from those runs. I'm also looking to add 2 new job classes. I'm pretty settled on thief. I can only use steel materia. I'm still a bit unsure as to the second job class I want to add. And finally, I'm going to try my best to add a new run class. I think I'm going to start it off this year with an FF1 style run. So you can only get jobs that were in the original FF1 game and like the original starting jobs as well. So there won't be a ninja. You will get warrior, thief, monk, red mage, white mage, black mage. And those will be your classes, your only classes from the game. So I think that will be like a nice, interesting twist to play. And yeah, I think it just, mix it up a bit from last year if people wanted to try something different. Also, I'm going to desperately try and make some sort of end run process so that you can end it and continue another one without me having to manually edit a database entry. You can just tweak the bot and hopefully it should work. Bit much like they do on the 4-job Fiesta. So, next up, I've got some questions from the Discord. So, our good friend Soda Bread Palazzo, or Soda X Bread as he was originally called on Discord, he asks, what's your favourite flavour of tea? And for the first tea time question, I feel like this is appropriate. Now, I do actually have quite a bit of a backlog, and this is the newest question. But I'm going to start from the front and work my way back. If you do have questions for Tea Time with Bill, please either tweet them to me or join the Discord and put them in the Ask Tea Time Bill questions segment. And yeah, my favourite type of tea is I'm not a huge tea drinker. I've had some really nice ones when I've been to places like the Ritz for afternoon tea. I've only been once because it's very expensive. There's another hotel that was really nice that I went to once. Connell? No, not Connell. Landmark. Oh my God, the Landmark. And they brought me over a nice tea in a pot with the leaves, and they strained it in front of me, and it was really, really nice. Generally, I just like in my younger days I used to do a bit of labouring. I just love a nice pyramid nice pyramid Tetley tea bag. It's just brilliant. It's just classic builder's tea, except I have it with lots of milk. Classic builder's tea, like you have just a drip of milk, but it's just like, I like my stuff milky. Yeah, that's my favourite tea. And Colin Saga Jesus says, given that it's Yorkshire, that's a given, it's Yorkshire Gold. Yorkshire Gold sucks, Colin, sorry. Best tea out there, particularly impossible to find outside the UK and EU. Yeah. He then goes on not to ask me a question, but an indirect question. He says, Bill, how the hell does Angry Ass Black Dude beat so many games freaking quick? He beat Kingdom Hearts 2 in 8.5 hours. And Scott rightly points out that 8.5 hours is the length of the cutscenes in Kingdom Hearts 2. Anyway, I'm going to leave the tea time questions there, and because I suspect I won't get too many questions, so I'm going to save up all the ones I've got backlogged. And then finally, Scott wants to know my after years games, my golden year games versus after year games. Now, it's a tough one. I think possibly my most nostalgic game of all time is either going to be something like Tetris or Final Fantasy VII. I think he's specifically talking RPGs. So I'm going to say Final Fantasy VII. It's just the game that made me fall in love with RPGs. and has been a big mainstay of my life. I think Final Fantasy IX is the better Final Fantasy game, but I just love 7. There's just something about it. Always calls me back to it. And now I've got the Materia lockdown to call me back every single year. And after years game, I'm probably going to say, it's a tough one. I'm going to say Elder Scrolls Oblivion. No. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I think that is possibly the greatest game ever made. Oh God, that is just a masterpiece. Was that on the PS2? Oh man, if that's on the PS2, that can't count as an RTS game. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, Oblivion, Elder Scrolls. At least I'm keeping it RPG. Okay. Yeah, best after years RPG is going to be Oblivion, Elder Scrolls. I just fell in love with that game and absolutely immersed myself in it. I'm not usually one for making stuff, and I didn't really do a lot of that, but man, did I love finding materials out in the wild. That was so much fun. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So those are my 2 games. I'm going to say Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and Final Fantasy VII. And so finally, just as a note, Scott, you'll be able to enlighten on this more. But Scott sent out a challenge to Twitter to get me to play the Kingdom Hearts games. Now, I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game in my life. And so I said, yeah, if you can get someone to retweet something from the Golden Years account 100 times, if there's 100 retweets of it, I will play the Kingdom Hearts games. And yeah, the little bastard apparently knows someone who hosts Kingdom Hearts Union podcast. I was just like, so it managed to hit 100 retweets within a couple of hours. But it's all good stuff, That's good advertising for the show. So yeah, I'm starting to play Kingdom Hearts. I played an hour of the first game, or just over an hour. It's surprisingly, it's a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. It's still a bit weird, weird cross of Final Fantasy and Disney. Why the hell they decided to name one of the main characters Riku when it's not the Riku from Final Fantasy X, but you're introduced to Riku while there's other Final Fantasy X characters standing around. Yeah, very confusing. I know, Scott. 1 U, not 2 U's. Or whatever it is.
It's a K, 2 Ks.
Yeah, so that's it really. That's all I've been up to the last week since the FF8 review, which was a long beast. But thanks to Scott and Rich for covering on the fact that I had to jump off halfway through.
Doesn't even sound like him anymore.
So yeah, my only final thoughts really are just, please get involved. The Materia lockdown. Remember, we were raising money for the Motor Neurone Disease Association, who did absolutely amazing things for my mum in her final year of her life, and I can't do enough to give back to them. So if you are playing a Materia lockdown run, please feel free to jump onto the Just Giving page that I've set up. Just donate whatever you can. You don't have to donate large amounts. Just every dollar, every pound helps. So just do and give what you can. But yeah, I really want to try and beat last year's total of £330 that we raised. So let's try and make it a really good year for the lockdown, guys. Let's all get involved. And yeah, I'm looking forward to all of your interesting runs of Final Fantasy VII with all the odd materia. And that's it for me. So I'm going to leave you back over to Scott, Jay, and Rich to talk about whatever nonsense they're talking about. Especially you, Rich. You talk so much nonsense.
Ooh, slammed.
I see how that is.
That was good.
So he almost picked Tetris, but he went with Final Fantasy VII. We don't have to talk about Final Fantasy VII or GTA San Andreas because that was his chance to present his own arguments. I think in the future we might either have a live chat going on over that or talk over it as he's commenting our live reactions, something like that.
Yeah, because when he said Tetris, I about fell out of the chair.
I mean, Tetris is great, but I think Tetris might be even pre-Golden Years. So.
Yeah.
If you watch the video version, you'll see us typing away and sending messages in our Slack group.
Available on Patreon.
But yeah, that's interesting updates. Thanks, Bill. 10 minutes of lots of talking.
How many times do I have to tell him? Short.
Very long 10 minutes.
So, I mean, Can we decide a winner between these games? Is that even possible between ourselves?
I'm sure we could.
I think mine win. Sorry.
Just right off the bat, mine wins.
I mean, if we were to say like the best Golden Year game, there's 3 Final Fantasies there.
Then Final Fantasy is going to win that.
Final Fantasy, the series, is the best Golden Year.
Just it. Yeah. We'll just downplay mine. I'll bow down.
Well, but then the after years, I don't really know how to decide between those. We got Portal 2, Final Fantasy 15, Persona 5, and GTA San Andreas.
Well, again, Portal 2 and GTA are not RPGs.
I didn't know that was a qualifier. fucking Rich, God damn it.
He even said that in his tea time. He's like, I don't know if this really qualifies as an RPG, but
yeah, okay.
That's why he almost picked Tetris.
My own episode was hijacked from me.
San Andreas is a good one.
Yeah,
San Andreas is good.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
I think that maybe
terribly though.
Yeah, it's hard to play now. All those old GTA games are kind of hard to play now. I think maybe we don't decide a winner. These are some of the best games of all time, all 8 of them. And
I like it.
We weren't restricted to what year they came out. So, and there's of course many other great games, but yeah. So, anything else you guys have to say about the golden years versus the after years?
No.
Nope. Maybe I wonder if we can do some future golden years versus the after years, but do it like a kind of a partial review type of segment. Like we'll play like Final Fantasy 1 through 6 or something like that. Well, I guess technically up to 10, but it would be cool to hit the 2D realm, and then also like within a respectable amount of time also play one of the newer ones and just compare like the older entries in the series to the newer ones. Like it would be cool to play like the first or second Dragon Quest for a variable amount of hours, because I probably would not want to beat one of those games to completion, and then play like 11 and just see how it compares and see how the series has improved.
Yeah, like evolution of over time.
Yeah.
You're just full of ideas, Jay.
Yeah.
Write that down and we'll forget it and never do it. Hey, there's an episode idea Google Doc out there. Okay, so that's it for the golden years versus the after years. Okay, so let's do our little outros here. What are we talking about next week, Jay? This was your idea, so
we are going to talk about what makes a good RPG. So this is going to be an entire episode where you will hear our opinions on what we think makes a good RPG game. So we're going to be talking about story. We're going to be talking about gameplay. We're going to be talking about the graphics, the art style, the character development, anything that might be thought about whenever we think of a good RPG in our own right. We would like to entice some listener feedback. Any kind of feedback, go for it. If you also have episode ideas, then tweet us or email us and we'll discuss it.
We also want you to know what you think is what makes a good RPG. So just send those in as well. Twitter, all that.
Yeah. So the next thing is for us to get feedback from you guys on the whole entire show, how we're doing, if we're actually doing a good job or we're terrible, preferably not the terrible part, but.
Well, I am misreading some documents here and there. So if stuff may not make sense, then it's probably me skipping a line or two.
Yeah.
And then Scott having to recover.
He does it so gracefully. So again, let us know how we're doing. You could do that. Leave us feedback on any of your podcasting services, iTunes, Google
Especially
Play.
as our relaunch episode.
Yeah.
We really want to know what you guys think of the new format and the new flow of the show.
Yeah, see how we're doing. Do not compare us to the first episode of the Golden Years. Please, God, don't do that.
Or to any of the those Bill update episodes.
Yeah, please don't. That's where you guys can find us to leave us some feedback. Definitely would really appreciate that. Helps us get more potential listeners and just letting us know how we did.
Even just to to gas you up, Rich, even comparing without the wonders of me and Jay, like you and Bill have come a long way since you started. So I don't want you to derogatory yourself too much.
No.
Anyway,
the professional level has gone way through the roof for sure.
You're a fucking expert now, man.
I'm getting there.
So another reminder, the Twitter Game of the Decade bracket is going on right now. I think if I did my math right, the day before this episode airs, the finals will have started. So it'll be in the process of it. So go decide what the Game of the Decade is. Hopefully, well, I'll let you guys decide. Is it going to be Jackbox? Who knows?
Swear to God.
So going on to our plugs, where can we chat with each other, Rich?
Discord.
just yell Discord.
Discord. Let's just yell that out.
Somewhere on the thing.
It's on the dock. It says Discord. Yes. So you can actually chat with us on Discord and a lot of our community that we've built from the golden years on to now. We do have a lot of traffic that's going on there, but definitely would love to see others there. Just interacting with different games that we talk about, such as, the Final Fantasies, the Tales, Dragon Quest,
Alundra.
We're playing that game. And
Portal
you can
2.
Portal 2. Yeah, that's just now going to be a running joke. So you can even talk to Bill, which, I mean, if you want to.
Nobody's going to join the Discord now.
Yeah.
The link is in the show notes and it's on Twitter.
Yep. So rate and review us on iTunes or anywhere that you might be listening to this podcast. Give us a review. Tell us what you think. Help us shoot up that ranking.
Yeah. Like I said, the reviews are really the main number one thing that helps get shows out there. So if you like us and you like the show, then review us, please. Preferably a good review, but we're big men. We can take criticism.
If you have a bad review, put it on the golden years.
Yeah. So also, as we talked about earlier, we have a brand new spanking ass sparkly Patreon, patreon.com/RPG the After Years. Early episode access, ad-free episodes. You can participate live. You can see us on video. Jay's Anime Corner, bonus episodes of the Aftercast, extra non-RPG reviews, and more. So I think there's lots of benefits there. So go take a look at that. Okay, so like Jay said, you can email us at rpgafteryears@gmail.com. So what is where can they reach us on Twitter? You can reach us at RPG Years. That's the show account. Me at the Scott Spot.
Me at HaleBlue1569.
Me at Jay Hizzle, Jay Hizzle.
And you can reach Bill at Matunica if you so choose.
Don't do that.
Poor Bill.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We hope you've enjoyed the episode and look forward to catching you again for more with episode 2. Until then, I'm Scott.
I'm Rich.
And I'm Jay.
We'll see you next time for more RPG The After Years.
Toodaloo.
Bye.
Later.
See ya. Nice.